Jacoby. We are Jalen Jacoby. What is
What
it
up,
that we do?
We give the people what they want.
So much to discuss today. James Harden just straight up not showing up for work. The Jets losing in a very interesting manner, and the Lions actually won a football game. But we start with the game of the week that was in Tennessee. Baker Mayfield and the Browns just showed up and showed out. Jalen, they scored a field goal and then 5 straight touchdowns in their first 6 possessions. What happened with the Browns?
You see what happened. Peoples Jones going deep. Baker Mayfield, 4 touchdown passes in the first half, Jacoby. The team scored 5 total TDs. They were rumbling. I give the Titans credit for making it a football game, but it wasn't because Derrick Henry was running the ball and putting up big numbers. He actually fumbled. When I saw him fumble, Jacoby, I was like, whoa, Cleveland Browns defense out here playing physical.
Yep, that was the first time he has fumbled in 375 touches, and we all expected Henry to run all over this game in this defense. He did not. He had 15 attempts for only 60 yards. It wasn't just Baker, and I love watching Baker, especially when Baker's playing well and he's dancing and having fun. He's so exciting, but it wasn't just the offense and all the numbers they put up. The defense showed up as well. The final score, 41-35, and the onside kick, that does not reflect the waxing that these Browns put on the Titans, but things get tricky for the Browns from here. Right now, they sit at 9-3, but if you look at their upcoming games, they've got the Ravens, the surprising Giants, the Jets, they're definitely going to lose that one, and then the Steelers, 3 really tough games in their final 4, but they can prove who they are, and if they're truly a contender in the AFC in the next month of games. And Jalen, that one was exciting and a big game in the AFC. But one thing that we always say about the AFC is that the Chiefs are head and shoulders above every other team, not just in the AFC, but in the NFL. We say it's the Chiefs and then a big gap and then everybody else. But Jalen, last night I'm watching the game against the Broncos and they were losing. They did end up winning the game by 6 points, but it wasn't pretty. Are you concerned about the Chiefs sometimes playing down to competition, just barely squeaking out wins instead of blowing teams out?
I am not concerned. I want to give the Denver Broncos actually credit because when you hire a defensive coordinator to be your head coach, you expect them to compete on that side of the football. That's why my Lions are looking for a new coach because they tried to do that and it didn't work. But for the Kansas City Chiefs, Jacoby, they toying with the competition. You and I know it. Can we give the Cheetahs some love? Please give the Cheetahs some love. For those that weren't watching this game, because they were playing the Broncos and the Broncos have a different person playing quarterback every quarter. Look at the Cheetah. This is a touchdown catch.
He caught the ball and didn't even know he scored a touchdown.
They didn't even care. They didn't even challenge it. No, there's an offensive coordinator. There's a head coach. There's so many people that saw this video. It's people playing fantasy. It's people betting. Look at the Cheetah, dog. Look, we're going to do this every week. You know why he never sticks to landing? Because, A, you can tell that he ain't never even done that before. He's just trying stuff. He's just trying stuff, and they got a penalty on that play. That's 2 touchdowns. He out there just bucket naked, wide open. And then the other one, Jacoby, how do you not challenge it? It cost some people some money, I'm for sure.
Well, I think he legit didn't know he caught it, but while I was watching that play, they ripped it out of him, and he caught it again. I was like, are we sure? Are we sure that he didn't catch that live? I was like, are we sure he didn't catch that? Because if you watch the end of this, it gets ripped out of his hands, and he catches it again. But, Jalen, you have a theory that they're toying with their competition. They're playing with their food. And their tight end, Travis Kelce, kind of backed up that theory a little bit because I was up late watching this game, and I watched the post-game interview when Travis Kelce had something really interesting to say about that evening's competition. Take it away, Travis.
We just got to finish strong. I mean, hats off to the Raiders. They've done an unbelievable job the past 2 games of, presenting a challenge on 3rd downs and in the red zone. I mean, it is what it is. We got to keep fighting as it's so cold. Yay! Gotta love it, baby. Gotta love it, man.
Hats off to the Raiders? Did he say hats off to the Raiders after playing the Broncos, Mr. Rose? Did he just do that?
Dog, so many things He was dead serious on the field of play, and he called them the Raiders, who, by the way, is their rival. The other thing, if he realized that he did it, and you know this, to say that would be bulletin board material for the rest of the league and rest of the AFC. Are we saying that? No, we're not saying that. We're not saying that because Kelce putting up crazy historic numbers this year, by the way.
Well, Kelce has put up huge numbers. We'll take a look at those. He's setting records at the tight end position. I mean, look at this. Just look at the ranks. And there's some great tight ends in the league. Waller's out there. Kittle's out there. There's great tight ends in this league, and he is ranked first in 5 straight seasons.
Man,
he has 1,000+ receiving yards. 5 straight seasons.
I got to tell you a secret. That's serious as this goatee. Like Walt Clyde Frazier would rock it, like Magic in '79, like Denzel in Training Day. The tight end spot is one of my favorites in the NFL. And just watching those numbers with Travis Kelce, it just made me think about so many all-time greats that played that position, and he just taking it to another level. We got to pay homage to the old-school tight ends, the Doug Cosbys, the Billy Joe Duprees, the Kellen Winslows. Absolutely, so many.
Jalen, we have some news. Defensive coordinator Greg Williams of the New York Jets was fired this morning. He is no longer with the Jets, and a lot of it has to do with the end of the game against the Raiders, in which the Jets had the lead in the football contest, and then this happened. It's been covered all day long today. Jalen, what are your thoughts about the all-out blitz at the end of the game?
Jacoby, you know I root for an NFL team that went winless for a season. You know I watched that up close and personal. Let me tell you something. I even watched the Browns when it happened because they are cousins for it. When you're 0-12, everybody contributes to your level of ineptitude and dysfunction. Everybody's horrible at their job. That's why when you look up this offseason, most, if not all of the people in the front office and or in uniform are going to be elsewhere. So I'm not surprised that they fired the defensive coordinator, but here's what I'm surprised. That they had just given up a bomb opportunity to Nelson Aguilar.
Yes, show that.
Carr overthrew it.
Yes, they were in a zone. In the previous play, they were in a zone, and he's wide open. That's 2 in a row. That is 2 game-losing plays in a row with 2 different types of defense. It's almost not so much focus is being put on the call, where it's like there was a different call in the previous play, and they messed that up too. This is a loss for them. It's not just all on Greg Williams, is a great point that I'm glad you're pointing out, Mr. Rose. However, Mr. Williams will no longer be with the Jets, and I do not believe the Jets are going to win a game. And somewhere Trevor Lawrence was watching all that go down, and he's like, man, I'm either going to be in Jacksonville or New York.
Yeah. I want to see, and I know we're talking about Adam Schefter, our guy racing the cheetah. I really want to see him and Ruggs race. Now, that'll be something.
Well, from one New York team going down to another one that's headed up, the Giants headed over to Seattle to play what many consider to be one of the best teams in the league, certainly one of the best teams in the NFC, in the Seahawks. They didn't have Daniel Jones. They started Colt McCoy, and they won the football game 17-12. What did this game show you about the Seahawks?
Jacoby, I know for professional protocol, we continue to break down these games with the best of them, but I got to sometimes feed my degenerates out there. And let me tell you something. On paper, this looked like a gimme for the Seahawks. It looked like a gimme for the Seahawks. Like you just gonna sweep the money up off the floor very easy. And all of a sudden, the Giants go there and upset them and beat them. Russell has a couple of turnovers. Again, they can't stop the run at all. The Giants, was Saquon Barkley playing? Like, I was like, I looked at the TV again. I'm like, is he back? Well, I'm like,
it's
no.
Colt McCoy and Alfred Morris. It's Colt McCoy and Alfred Morris and Wayne Gallman running all over the Seahawks defense, who are supposed to have a really bad pass defense. Now they're getting gashed on the run. They're giving up yards on the pass. And again, it is Colt McCoy. This isn't Saquon and Daniel Jones. This is Colt McCoy and Alfred Morris. This is a real cause for concern. for Seattle to be at home to lose this game, not just to this team, but to these players on this team. Where do you think that puts them in the NFC in terms of contention?
They put me as a squad that just has a home run opportunity if they're going to get hot in the playoffs because they have Russell. And then they have a couple of star players that can make a play and change the game on that side of the ball in Wagner and also Adams. But you can't rely on that because we talked about their run D, but their pass D has been all-time awful this year as well. So if they're going to do something, it's literally Carson getting a couple of touchdowns, Metcalf and Lockett getting out there. That's going to be their only chance, and then Russ just going to have to go into the phone booth.
I have to stop you because while we showed some great video from the NFL, there was some very interesting video from the NBA that we can't show you, but we can talk about it. Let's go behind the curtain. Houston Rockets had practice yesterday. John Wall was there. Guess who wasn't there? James Harden. And then James Harden had a individual workout scheduled for the evening because of COVID-19 protocols. He couldn't join the team for practice. He didn't show up to that either. But where did he show up? Oh, little baby's birthday. We had some video from that. And where else did he show up? Out of an environment that looked a lot like a gentleman club with a man that looked a lot like James Harden inside, not wearing a mask. Mr. Rose, take us behind the curtain. What kind of message does this send when you are James Harden, you're not playing basketball with the team, and you are playing in the streets of Atlanta?
Well, a couple of things. I just hope him saying allegedly that he doesn't want to be with the Rockets now affect his professionalism in doing his job, which is then going to start costing him money, and it's going to start costing him fans. I don't want that to happen for him. I believe that each of these things are actually isolated, Jacoby. If you think about it, the season just ended, they were in the bubble. Each time when they were about to go in the bubble, people was like, we about to go do a bid. When you saw the NBA come out with those rules and restrictions about COVID, of what they can't do.
I think he broke a couple.
So for me, he was like, I'm about to get it in right now. Little baby's birthday, he came with a duffel bag, gave him a couple of $100,000. You know what I'm saying? And he had to get back to the community. During this time, you got to take care of the
Service
people.
Employees need to be taken care of.
Absolutely. Essential workers. James Harden will get his number retired at a couple of strip clubs in Houston before he leaves.
They scheduled an individual workout just for him. That means an assistant coach was there, maybe some ball boys were there, and they're sitting there waiting, looking at the door, waiting for James Harden to walk through it, and he did not walk through it. I think this is something that will be covered heavily in the next couple of days, and you will always see the updates here on Jalen and Jacoby. We also have this, a quarterback controversy in Philadelphia, and the Patriots beat the Chargers 45-0. So much to discuss. Make sure you stay tuned. You're watching Jalen and Jacoby. 17 the South Street Seaport and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, the Packers beat the Eagles by 2 touchdowns. Looked like a Super Bowl contender, so you'd think we would be speaking about them, but we're not because Carson Wentz was put on the bench and Jalen Hurts was put in and looked okay. Jalen, what do you think about the brewing controversy in Philadelphia at the quarterback position?
All I know is when Hurts threw that bomb to Rieger, Jalen's across the world rejoiced. That was just a beautiful moment in NFL history. Connection.
Good point.
No question about it. And so Carson Wentz, he struggled, and that's, something we've seen with him taking sacks, throwing interceptions. They needed a change at the position, especially when you look across the field and the other guys, Aaron Rodgers, who just threw his 400th touchdown, and he got Adams, and he got Jones, and they're out there balling. This is the week he's like, you know what? You ain't there yet. We're going to sit you down. And we're going to put our second-round pick in there who, like you, I agree. He showed some flashes of what he could do as a starter, but I just believe that Doug Peterson is going to look at his team and analyze the entire body of work, and Carson Wentz is going to be Philadelphia's starting quarterback next week, in my opinion, if no other reason but for the money. But for the money. Because they got to pay him a lot of money, Jacoby, over the next year or so. And with that big deal, you don't want to isolate him right now. You don't want to mess up his value right now more than he has. But you know what else you don't want him to do? You don't want him to get hurt, Jacoby. You don't want him to get hurt. So you're going to put Jalen Hurts out there, let him take some of those snaps, let him get some of the third down plays, some of that goal line action. But I still believe Carson Wentz is going to be their starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think we should pump the brakes a little bit on Jalen Hurts' performance. He didn't lead them to a victory. He had that nice pass, Jalen to Jalen connection, but he was 5 for 12. He was 5 for 12 in the game. So I do believe that Carson Wentz remains the starter in Philly, but I also don't believe they will end up in the playoffs as the Giants have put themselves in pole position in the NFC East. Moving on to another game with a very surprising result. Not just who won, but how they won. The Patriots won 45 to nothing. 45 to nothing. What did you think about this performance from the Pats?
I think I like that. I only seen it a couple of times yesterday. You know how I feel about special teams touchdowns. You know how I feel about special teams touchdowns. You see that Jacoby blocking the field goal, going the other way. McCarty, look at him, getting out there. Ain't nobody catching me. Running fast like he's still in the backyard trying to fall in love with the game. But here, in all honesty, Anthony Lynn, 3-2-1, the time is ticking for his job with the Chargers. They have something special at the quarterback position. They've had a lot of injuries with that team, but when you've lost so many close games, and then all of a sudden it seems like your team let go of the rope, and then you get waxed like this, it's going to definitely, in my opinion, cost him his job at some point.
The Patriots scored 45 points. Cam Newton, the starting quarterback, threw for 69 yards. 69 yards. Cam Newton threw for 69 yards and 1 touchdown. Jarrett Stidham came in and threw for 61 yards and 1 touchdown. That is just exemplary of how the Patriots approach the offense. They're running Cam. They run the running backs. They got a bunch of them, and that's what they do on offense, and the Chargers were ill-prepared to deal with it. Another interesting quarterback performance from Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill showed this week what Sean Payton has been telling us he's going to do the past 3 weeks. He played really well, 27 for 37, 232 yards, looked like a legitimate quarterback, not a gimmick this week. What do you think about Taysom's performance?
I think while we get caught up in ring counting so very much and we start giving people names like quarterback whisperers and geniuses, people got to start making sure they put some respect on Sean Payton's name. Because it seems like whoever's on the center, to be honest, he's going to find a way to have them be productive. And you're right about Taysom Hill. In his first start, it didn't look like he was going to be that guy that came out throwing rockets outside the numbers like he was doing in this game. And also, along with health, because Michael Thomas has been playing these last couple of games, he's clearly getting a level of productivity from him that just wasn't happening earlier in the year for obvious reasons due to injury and just being in and out of the lineup. So if and when Drew Brees returns week 14, and by the way, but hearing his injuries, I'm like, he gonna be back when?
Collapsed
I'm like, that
lungs.
sounds like he needs a little more time.
Don't you need your lungs?
Yeah, what else did he have? Yeah, I'm like, whoa, he needs a little more time. I want to make sure I get on the phone with Drew Brees if I need to and tell the OG just to chill a couple of more weeks. We'll need you to come back week 14, dog.
We need you.
He needs people in his life to tell him, no, dog.
Exactly.
No, dog.
Jalen.
You can come back and play the first half of the final game and then get ready to the playoffs.
Jalen, the Lions were down 10 with under 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. What happened next, Jalen Rose? What happened next, Jalen Anthony Rose?
You know, I was watching the game, and you know what I was trying to do? I was trying to convert my daughter Gracie, who's 14, to be a Lions fan. Now, she grew up in Georgia, but the game was on, Jacoby. I was cooking. I was making thighs and drumsticks and barbecue ribs, you know? So it was just like bonding, you know? And then all of a sudden, I'm like, you see them Lions out there? What you think of those uniforms? What do you think of that squad right there? And you know, after all of this, they came back to win, had 2 touchdowns late. I was so happy, had a couple of sangrias, but her answer was, I'm not going to be able to do it. That's what she said to me.
You know what? You know when she would be a Lions fan? You know when she would be a Lions fan? If they drafted Tua. Jalen, we have some huge boxing news. We'll tell you what that is right after this. You'll get a haircut because the NBA returns to ESPN this Friday night at 10:30. We have some West Coast action between the Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trail Blazers tuning up for the upcoming season. We have some big news in the world of boxing. Floyd Money Mayweather will return to the squared circle. He will face off against Logan Paul, the brother of Jake Paul, who we just saw fight Nate Robinson. Your thoughts on this curious move from Mr. Mayweather?
Well, first off, this is literally easy money for Floyd. Easy money. But I'm just surprised. Normally, he doesn't get caught up in like the internet trolling, fighting the brother of somebody who was just on Mike Tyson's fight card. So we got to bring him on to talk about this one.
I look forward to that, and that happens on the 20th of February in 2021. But we want to celebrate today because today is the birthday of someone very special to the two of us, Larry Bird. You used to play for Larry Bird. I used to pray to Larry Bird. Every day before games, I would pray to the Larry Bird poster in my room before taking the court and going 2 for 12 from the field.
Legend.
We'll be back.